All of these terrible policies look like they've been years in the making, and that's because they have. Each time you hear about some crazy idea and you think, well, nobody would ever buy into that, you should be thinking differently. You should be thinking something altogether different. And that is, how long have they been working on this one? Is it too late to stop it? That's what you should be considering. Eating bugs? Yeah, nobody would go for that, except that it's being pushed by the elites around the world to save the planet. Of course, they're not going to be eating bugs. You are, or your kids are. The same goes for bulldozing American and European power plants. I mean, we would never do that in exchange for random power based on when the wind might blow or the sun might shine without clouds, except that it's exactly what's being done. Only in the Western world. How long ago, right now, think about this, how long ago does the year 2000 seem to you from where we sit? In some ways, it was yesterday, Y2K and all that. You remember that, of course. It just seems 100,000 years ago, doesn't it? I know I'm asking a lot of questions of you today, but you have to understand the United States is being subjected to the United Nations Agenda 2030. And Agenda 2030 is very real, very dangerous, not only to us in America, but to the entire free world. And remember, only about 30% of the world is actually considered free. The vast majority of the nations on the planet, the people on the planet, ones that do not allow for freedom to flourish. They don't care about the freedom of speech or the freedom of religion because they cannot and will not be bothered by such unimportant and trivial things. These governments rule with authority and many with an iron fist. They operate with near total control of the populations. That's the job they perform. And that's why our southern border is being overrun as we speak and our nation threatened with extinction. But I will get back to that in just a second. But first, let's take a look back at when this really took off. Not that long ago, really. Not that long ago, really. You see, most political promises are made and then forgotten as soon as a politician wins election. It's not always true. Here's part of one big promise that appears to have been kept. Listen.
I'm happy to look them in the eye and say what needs to be said. I'm happy to tell them what I think. I'm not going to avoid them. I'm not going to hide behind a bunch of rhetoric. I don't want a continuation of Bush-Cheney. I don't want Bush-Cheney light. I want a fundamental change.
A fundamental change. Oh, yeah, Barack Obama promised to change America forever, a promise he kept.